Hey guys, it's Mikexingchen. There's going to be a time in our lives when death knocks at our doors and the only thing we can do is accept our fate. I mean, if we're meant to die, then we might as well accept it, right? But some people defy the odds and they somehow slip away from death's grasp. Their miraculous survivals to horrific scenarios prove that they are either really lucky or they will be involved in real-life Final Destination scenarios at some point. So here are several lucky individuals who survived the impossible. First off, we have the unluckiest guy alive. Franz Selc, a Croatian music teacher, was born in 1929. He survived not one, but 6 accidents that all could have taken his life. His first near-death experience happened in January of 1962 when the train he was riding fell off the tracks and landed in a freezing river. 17 of the train's passengers died, but Selc survived with a mere broken arm and a few scratches. 1 year later, in 1963, Selc was at death's door again. He was riding in a plane and was thrown out due to a door that suddenly blew open. 19 people died from that accident, but Selc survived the fall from the plane because he very cartoonishly landed on a haystack. The third time was in 1966 when Selc was on a bus that once again fell into a river. 4 people died from that incident, but like before, Selc survived unharmed. Then in 1970, his car caught on fire when he was casually driving. Miraculously, he was able to escape the car before the fuel tank exploded and was once again unharmed. In 1973, only 3 years later, his car caught on fire again. And besides burning his hair off, he once again walked away unscathed. Another bus accident happened in 1995. This time, Selc was hit by a bus, but didn't receive any major injuries. Finally, in 1996, Selc was trying to dodge an oncoming truck on a mountain road and it drove off a cliff. His car fell 300 feet and exploded, but somehow Selc was saved when he landed on top of a tree. Number 2, the Lightning Man. Roy Sullivan was a forest ranger in Virginia, and over the course of his 36 years of working as a ranger, he was struck by lightning 7 times and miraculously survived all the jolts. His first lightning strike experience was in 1942 when the lightning hit his leg and chipped off his toenail. The next one struck him in 1969 and it stripped him of his eyebrows and made him pass out. In 1970, a strike hurt his shoulder, and in 1972, a lightning strike set his hair on fire. 1 year later, in 1973, his hair was set on fire once again. In 1976, he was struck by lightning but escaped with an injured ankle. And finally, on June 25th, 1977, Sullivan was struck and received injuries to his chest and stomach, resulting in an ugly hospital visit. Because of all the times he was struck by lightning and lived, Sullivan made it into the Guinness Book of World Records. So maybe Zeus was drunk and playing a game of how close can I strike a human without killing them? Number 3, can you imagine someone getting sliced in half and surviving? Well, it happened. The man involved was a 38-year-old railway switchman from Texas named Truman Duncan, who was doing his job one day when he suddenly fell in front of a moving train car. Unfortunately, he couldn't escape in time and was literally sliced in 2 by the moving train. Somehow, he was able to stay conscious and called 911 and told him that he was cut in 2 and he was not part of a magic trick. 45 minutes later, help finally arrived and Duncan was still conscious. Doctors spent 3.5 hours trying to save his life, and Duncan stayed in a coma for 3 weeks preceding his accident. After being cut in half, he had 23 surgeries and stayed in the hospital for 4 months before being released. Duncan left the hospital in a wheelchair, and amazingly, he returned to work at his old company. He said that his motivation to stay alive was that he had 3 children and he wanted to see his babies grow up. Next up, we have the Snow Queen herself, Anna Elisabeth Johansson Bagenholm, who was a Swedish radiologist. In 1999, she was on a ski trip and was heading down a steep hill when she suddenly lost control of her skis and fell into a frozen stream. Her upper body fell into a hole that opened up in the ice, and she was trapped under the ice for 80 minutes in extremely freezing water. The ice was almost 8 inches thick and she had no way of escaping. Her feet and skis were above the ice while the rest of her body was underneath. During that time, Anna experienced hypothermia and circulatory arrest. Thankfully, she was able to find an air pocket under the ice, which probably saved her life. This was a really strange case because people aren't supposed to survive being trapped for even half the time she spent under the ice. After she was rescued, more than 100 doctors and nurses spent 9 hours trying to save her. Anna woke up 10 days later and eventually recovered completely despite a few nerve problems. And finally, number 5, the woman who fell from 33,000 feet. You know when you get on a commercial flight and the captain will always come on the PA system and tell you that he's reached cruising altitude and is now safe to move about the cabin? Now imagine at this point there's an explosion and you come crashing to the ground. The chances of survival should be 0, but it's not because a woman has fallen from 30,300 feet and has miraculously survived. On January 26, 1972, a flight attendant named Vesna Volovic was on a Yugoslav airline DC-9 headed for Denmark when the plane was torn apart by an explosion. There were 22 other passengers and crew on board the plane, and Vesna was the only survivor. Rescue workers found her in the mangled section of the plane's tail, and she was badly hurt. She suffered a fractured skull, 3 broken vertebrae that left her initially paralyzed from the waist down. She was then in a coma for 27 days. How the plane was brought down is still a mystery. Some say it was a bomb planted by Croatian separatists. Others say it was the Czech Air Force. But the greatest mystery has to be how Vesna was able to fall from over 33,000 feet in the air, survive, and then make a full recovery and is still not afraid to fly. I've actually had a real life near-death experience myself, and I told this story in a couple of videos before. Anyway, I was like 6 years old in China, and there was this little mini highway in front of our apartment complex, and I remember one day me and my friend were playing and we saw a school bully who would always pick on us. He was running towards us with like a stick or something, like he was gonna beat us up. And we got kind of scared, so we darted across this highway without looking because we were just trying to run away from him. And I remember at the time the traffic was going so fast, all we could see was the headlights just moving so quickly, but we didn't even look, we just ran across the road. And for some reason, he was able to follow us across the road. Then we decided, no, let's run back. So we ran back, and for a split second, I hesitated. I stopped in the middle of the road, and all I felt was wham. And I flew up, I don't know how high in the air, but I knew it was high because later when I talked to my friend, he said he was laughing really hard because I flew so high. Anyway, I was knocked into the air. All the traffic stopped on the road. I'm lying there. The truck driver comes running to me. He's like, oh my God, I gotta get you to the hospital because, I can't believe I just hit you with all that force. And the only thought in my head was, no, I just gotta go home. So I told him, I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'm gonna go home. And by this time I was surrounded by people because everyone saw this and they were all like, oh my God, this kid should be dead. If he's alive, we gotta take him to a hospital. So everyone was trying to take me to a hospital. I was like, no, I'm okay. I walked around for them and they really saw that I was okay. So then they let me go. Only later when I got home, I was like, Mom, I got hit by a truck. So then she started freaking out and took me to a hospital to make sure I was okay, and I didn't have a scratch on me. So I don't know how these things happen. I do believe in fate. I do believe that we all have a certain time that's our time, and other times it's not our time, so we'll be safe no matter what. Or I'm gonna get Final Destination off later. But let me hear your thoughts about all this, and if you have a near-death experience story to share, post it in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching this video. See ya.